Yeah, today I would like to talk about different methods of training. My horse, Missy, I'm training with positive reinforcement training, also called R+, or clicker training, as opposed to negative reinforcement training. I'll say a few words about the difference between the two, why I do positive reinforcement training and why, for example, I don't do natural horsemanship. The difference is positive reinforcement training means I add something to reinforce the behaviour. In negative reinforcement training, I remove something to increase the behaviour. Negative reinforcement, for example, would be to remove pressure when the horse does what you want it to do. So, for example, pulling on the rein, leg aids, pulling a lead rope, etc. In human terms, it probably is a bit like your horse, your boss stopping to nag you when you finally do a task he has asked you to do. Positive reinforcement training, on the other hand, you add something like food or scratches when they give you the right answer. In human terms, that would be a bonus, or that glass of wine on a Friday night after a completed week of work. You shouldn't really mix those two types of training. I'll tell you why. Positive reinforcement training works without punishment or the feeling for the horse to move out of an uncomfortable situation, therefore pressure. The horse has the right to say no or not get the answer right the very first time, take their time. It's a partnership between a horse and the human, where you work out together what works and what doesn't work. Now imagine you do that kind of training and then one day you say, nope, today we do everything what I say and we do everything what I say. I guess you can imagine how damaging this is going to be to your relationship with your horse and the trust they base on you. I can understand that there will be situations where these twos are mixed, especially during transitioning from negative reinforcement training to positive reinforcement training when not all the training is in place yet. There might be situations or medical emergencies, vet visits, hoof checkups, things like that, that can be aversive for horses. But it's not a jail-free card. It should not be a jail-free card just to resort back to negative reinforcement training, because every time you put that onto your horse, it will damage your relationship. So what to do is train these behaviours, practice picking up the hooves, standing in a bucket, allowing you to investigate and check them, checking teeth, working on giving medication, things like that, so you don't have to resort to negative reinforcement. A lot of people say, well, but the horse only does it for the food. Now, if in positive reinforcement training the horse only does it for the food, then I'm asking, what is it doing it for in negative reinforcement? And that is the threat of what the human will put onto them, the pressure, the aversive situations. So I'm wondering, do I want to be the indicator of a good time for my horse, or do I want to be an indicator of a threat or uncomfortable situation? And the answer is very easy for me. There have also been studies that have proven that there is a dopamine, which is the happiness hormone release in positive reinforcement training, and it happens not when the food is given, but before the click. So at the point where the horse realises, I know the answer to this, I know how this goes and is about to perform the behaviour, that's when the spike in dopamine happens. So that kind of shows that our plus training is more complex than just shoveling food into a horse's mouth and hoping for the best. Further studies have shown that horses learn better with positive reinforcement, and if you think about it, it does make sense. Negative reinforcement, the horse is very reactive what the human asks of them, and it is basically full of avoidance behaviour, the horse avoiding to get punished, avoiding to feel uncomfortable, etc. Whereas in positive reinforcement training, the horse proactively searches for the right answer. It engages the seeking system, the curiosity, the thinking, the problem-solving skills in a horse, and it motivates them to look for the right answer. So you get a happy, motivated horse. I'll be quite frank with you, if you train with positive reinforcement, there will always be an element of food and or scratches. It's not as if you can train with food and then just decide to ask for the behaviour without any reward, because then you take a motivation of the horse away to perform for you. The horse will do what reinforces it most, be it food, or be it a thread, be it motivation or avoidance. Personally, I don't have a problem with having food in my pocket. If that means that my horse is happy to see me, I don't need to bring a lead rope or even a head collar to get my horse, or need whips or other equipment to make my horse do things for me. So I'm quite happy to do that. I said I was going to say a few words on why I don't do natural horsemanship. Now, the theory behind natural horsemanship is that the training is based on horse behaviour. However, it misinterprets horse body language badly. Calming signals, when the horse tries to calm situations down by looking away because it feels too much pressure or too much aggression, and is anxious about it and looks away, is interpreted as a lack of respect and is being punished. Licking and chewing is interpreted as thinking, whereas it is a sign of stress. It's based on a theory and practice of fear and dominance. If the horse is not doing what the human wants, it's called disrespect and is being punished. It's very similar in its connection to traditional horsemanship, that it works with pressure and release. It is even harsher than traditional methods, justified with them saying that horses do that to each other. But we're not horses, and the horses know we're not horses, so there is kinder ways of communicating and working together. This kind of leads me on to the issue of respect. What is respect? Does the horse respect the electric fence, or is it just afraid of the shock that it gets? Do we respect the police, or are we just cautious about what they can do to us? So a lot of people using that term use it for horses that come into their space, and say that is the horse being disrespectful, whereas coming into your space is showing signs of fear and anxiousness and insecurity from the horse side. Horses in herd situation, they huddle together when they feel a threat coming on, or when they're nervous or feel danger coming on. So we as a human should eliminate that nervousness or anxiousness, and with positive reinforcement, once that is done, a comfortable test distance for both is very easily taught, so it doesn't need any flicking ropes, etc. Another issue is horses not blindly following orders. It is not disrespect. A horse might not be comfortable with the request. It might be afraid, fearful of something, nervous about something, might need extra time, or it might just physically be in pain or not possible to perform the task. So it's again our task as a human to find out why a horse is not performing that task and adjust our training accordingly. Similar to that is not letting a horse get away with it. And it often involves sending the horse around in circles, running, making them move until they finally do what you want them to do. But it's covering up the underlying issue, why a horse does not do something that you ask it to. So on the surface it might look as if the horse does what you ask it to, but underneath the issue still persists. So we as humans should there step in and figure out why, ask why things like that happen, and then work on it. In general terms, interspecies understanding, it's not clear if horses actually understand our motives. They might understand that we ask them to do something, but they are very likely not understanding what we actually ask of them. So interspecies understanding is something that has not been proven, in which case interspecies respect is standing on a very thin ground, and I certainly wouldn't base my whole theory of training around respect. So the bottom line really is why do we not just want to have a partnership with our horses? We really should be looking to make all the interactions with our horses as pleasant as possible it can be for us and them, where we don't have the feeling that we need to keep the upper hand and constantly reaffirm the respect that the horse is paying us in our position as a dominant horse, and where the horse is comfortable in our presence and not afraid to say no, or afraid of the threat that we pose with the things that we ask of it. So positive reinforcement training gives us the tools to train our horses and interact with them in a positive way. It empowers our horses to learn better. It empowers them to be confident and happy to learn. So that's basically why I train with positive reinforcement. I see the motivation and the brightness in the eye of my horse, whereas before I just got nothing. Disinterest, being reactive to my commands, but not actively wanting to engage and finding out what the plan for today's training is, whereas now I have a happy horse that wants to engage, and that comes to me in the field basically wondering, what are we going to do today, human? So that's pretty much it from me. I will now check on my little pony. Thank you for listening.